The Gallows, another found footage horror movie that we just saw. We're literally sitting outside. We just got through it, and this is your first found footage horror movie. Well, actually a horror movie in particular in the theater.
Yeah, I have seen a few horror movies like Halloween and things like that. Mostly mild stuff, so...
But
yeah.
not in the theater, right?
No, not in the theater, no.
So, yeah, this is a first for you. So, how was your first horror movie for you?
Sorry, I'm getting the flower out of the way. Well, it was fun. I mean, it was interesting. I was definitely shaking a few times, as you could probably tell.
Yeah. So, here's the story. Back in 1993, there was a high school play called The Gallows, and one of the props break and a student is hanged in a freak accident. So now it's years later, it takes place in...
2013.
Yeah, 2013, so it's pretty much modern day. And the school wants to bring the play back, and these idiot students want to break in the school at night and stop the stage production, but then they're tormented, and as you might have guessed, like any other slasher movie, they're killed off one by one. And as the mystery thickens, it gets more ominous, it gets more mysterious, and... What did you think?
Well, I do think that there is a lot of great build-up, like, you know, it kind of builds up to...
There's a lot of atmosphere in this one, and I personally think it has one of the best because a high school at night doesn't sound very good, but the way the lighting is, it just looks really creepy.
Plus, going into parts of the school that students normally don't see, like just the concrete walls and pipes and just the long, eerie hallways.
It's maintenance rooms, basically.
Long, eerie hallways and hidden rooms. I mean, it's an old school from what it looks like, so old buildings to me have always been kind of creepy, so...
It's like they made it a haunted house-like movie, but it's in a school, and to me it works because it just looks so ancient, like when they go into the maintenance rooms. And, like almost every found footage horror movie I've seen, there are jump scares. Some of them are lame. Like, the worst one I could think of is when, the cameraman, he's like hiding underneath and then, boo, he jumps up and I'm like...
I got so aggravated with that. I was like, why did you do that? It's so dumb.
It's really unneeded, and there was no reason for him to do that anyway. It's not like... It didn't even seem like a realistic character tick or anything.
Plus, I do have a few nitpicks with, like, you know, the whole clique thing of, like, oh, theater nerds, they look like regular nerds. There's, like, the guy with the black sweatshirt who's all thespian, and then the main, one of the main characters is a jock, and he throws a football at him because he's a nerd.
With impeccable accuracy.
Yeah, I know, he should go for All-Star. Oh, wait. Should we?
Too soon.
Should we spoil them?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
So overall, I didn't like this movie much.
It's not the best, but I do think that it was very atmospheric and scary, and I do like the premise.
Oh no, I'm not saying it's like bad overall. I'm just saying it has some good things, but to me the bad stuff is too distracting, especially the ending, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I don't know, there's just... I guess it's just all too familiar, but there's some atmosphere, there's some good things to look at, and there is some build-up. Some of the jump scares do work, some of them I see coming, and they did not surprise me at all.
There are some things that I do like attention to detail in certain areas. Oh, there's Curtis. Oh, okay. Be aggressive. But, sorry, coworker. So... there is some great build-up to it, and there are some great details in the movie that you don't...
It kind of reminded me of Five Nights at Freddy's, where they have some subtle little, references. Like, the locker combination, when he's trying to get his cell phone, is 93, which was the same year as the freak accident.
No, that was on the locker. It was on the locker, it wasn't the combination, it was just on the locker itself.
Oh. Yeah, and... you know, stuff like that. And
actually, I saw another poster that said The Gallows, 1993.
Yeah. And also there was, I like how there's Like, there was this one scene where it's shot in the dark, they're on stage, alone, and as the main character is looking around, there's like a little figure you see in the background, and it's like in a corner, like you have to really look hard to see it, so I like some of that. I like when, this is a very big problem with horror today, I think. When something appears, there should be no sound, you just see it. You just have to see it. There's like no sound to herald its appearance. Like no done, like a music to see it. It's just there. Like, I'm getting tired of like these loud music things that just happen out of nowhere when the creature appears. I just want it to be silent.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, I really enjoyed like some of the atmospheric things. Like you could hear certain things going on in the background. You can, you know, you just kind of, it's one of those things where you just kind of sit there and think, oh gosh, what is that noise? What's going to happen next? And, you know, I was actually pretty amused. And I kind of saw this coming, but one of the deaths, somebody said, oh yeah, watch out, that thing's dangerous. And then he died by the same thing.
Well, kind of, sort of. He died at there, but he didn't die by it, per se.
That's true.
Not much of a spoilers, but all the deaths are hanged.
Yeah, and, like, one of them's, like, really supernatural, and the other one's, well, I guess it is kind of supernatural.
Yeah.
But as you could probably guess, the jock bites the dust, and pretty terribly, by the way. And, like...
And that's another thing. In every horror movie, the jerkiest of jerks gets the most gruesome death, but not much this time.
No, I mean, he broke his leg, which was kind of cringy, but it wasn't like, you know...
Yeah.
It wasn't like, you know, oh god, he's dying by, you know, getting his head chopped off or some crap like that.
No, not like any other Friday the 13th scenario where there's blood and gore everywhere.
But it was, yeah, it's not a very gory movie, so it's easy to watch if you're not, I mean, if you're very squeamish like I am, and you can ask him, then I could definitely tell you that if you're squeamish but you want to see a horror movie, you might enjoy this one. But if you're like him and you've seen a million horror movies and seen all the cliches,
this doesn't add much to the table, but there's some creative stuff about it, but I've seen this before. I've seen this numerous times. There are just countless times where whenever something happens, I'm just like, Paranormal Activity did this, Paranormal Activity 2 did this, Blair Witch Project did this, and also I do kind of wish that all of the deaths didn't have to do with hanging. I would have liked it if it was like, I don't know, something different. I also,
like they get paranoid and one of them accidentally kills themselves.
Maybe, but, and not much of a spoiler, but that iconic scene you see in the trailer where the girl is like sobbing in a corner and then the thing appears behind her and yanks her back by the neck, that happens in the movie. And I did not jump. Because, A, we've already seen it, and B, I totally saw it coming. Even if you, like, didn't see the trailer, you can totally see it coming, but my god, the lighting. The lighting is what makes this movie.
The lighting
it's black
makes it
and
scary.
red. It's black and red, and I'll be honest, I've never seen a found footage horror movie that does that, at least to my knowledge, so...
And it is but what makes it nice is that it's not like, you know, that stupid, like, oh, it's red lighting for no reason. It's the backstage lighting.
Yeah. It's not like it's, like, part of the camera or anything, and yeah, they do use night vision, but...
That's for the guy's phone.
Yeah.
Also, the one thing I do like is that there's two perspectives in this movie. One from, Ryan, the one character who...
he's got the regular camera, and the other guy's, like, using his phone.
No, you know, he has two cameras, Ryan, he has his phone, which he uses when he doesn't have his regular camera, which, you know, Reese had, and it kind of switches back and forth between those perspectives, so you can see what happens to the characters instead of them just kind of running and discovering them. You see what happens to the characters, which I think is really cool.
And speaking of characters,
they all pretty much suck.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Unfriended, like, which is a movie I personally enjoyed, but do not expect to get emotionally involved with these characters. Just don't.
Like,
except maybe the protagonist, but then again, how many times have we seen that in a horror movie where the protagonist has the most heart?
like, you mean Reese? He's the really nice guy.
He's the generic nice guy. He's socially awkward, just can't get the girl, but in the end he does, and seen that before.
Sort
Millions of times
he
does this happen.
sort of gets the girl, and I
Spoilers. Spoilers.
Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah. So
It's interesting.
these characters are so stupid.
And
I didn't care about much of any of them, but then again, when it comes to these kind of movies, like with Unfriended, don't really expect to, because you kind of want the deaths to be... You came here for the deaths and the scares, so that's really what you came here for. So
I would have been shocked if they didn't have any deaths, or rather, it was just them freaking out. But you kind of figured that there would be death involved, because at the beginning it does say, like, police file.
Yeah, they did the same thing with the first Paranormal Activity 2 movies. Like with Paranormal Activity, it said Paramount Pictures would like to thank the families of the deceased of the victims who are in this found footage movie. But with this, they say property of the
Nebraska, something Nebraska police.
Yeah, police department, and they try to present this as realistic as possible because, once again, it's a found footage movie. And they also went with the same thing they did with Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity 1, which is have the actors and actresses have the same name as they do in the movie as their characters do, to, you know, create a sense of realism, but doesn't really add much in the long run, so I thought.
No.
That said, should we talk about the ending? What was that?
That did not make any sense. And I mean, supernatural stories, you know, it's one of those things where they don't always have to make sense, but it built it up to seem like that. Ready for the spoilers?
Okay, here's the spoilers. One of the girls is involved in this.
Pfeiffer.
Pfeiffer, the scared, timid little girl who's not at all like
a nerd, and
yeah, and she has a real passion for drama. She is the one who's actually behind all this. I don't know how... They don't explain it! It's just, what the hell? And her mother is also involved in this too, and she was a witness to the 1993 freak accident.
And she was the girlfriend of Charlie.
Honestly, I will say this. When you first see the witness from the 1993 freak accident, I kinda knew she would have a hand in this because she kind of looked obvious, like she kind of had crazy looking hair, and I don't know.
Oh yeah, they zoomed in on her.
Yeah.
And, he's like, oh, this chick's been here every day. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in.
Yeah, it's that and the crazy hair, so it's kind of like she has a hand in this somehow. And
she looks like one of those typical hippie chicks that probably have Ouija boards just for fun.
I guess that's what it is, because they don't explain it. It's just the mother... Okay. In the very last scene, these two cops bust in, and I really don't know how this is going to be resolved, because two cops dead, that's going to raise a lot of questions.
Well, I think that's also part of the whole police investigation thing, so they probably arrested them. I don't know.
They never explain. Here's what happens. Two cops bust in, and they have him surrounded, and they're watching the archive footage of the 93 freak accident, and they're just sitting there, you know, just having these disturbed faces where they're just like sitting.
Yeah, her mother's like brushing her hair.
Very disturbed. She's like, I don't know what that's about. And the cops are like, we found the suspects and you two are under arrest. And one of them mentions Charlie's name, and the little girl just turns her head and she's like, you shouldn't say his name.
No, she didn't even turn her head. The next time that you see the cop look at them, they have their heads turned to him.
Yeah, which was freaky, but once again, the scenario is just so bizarre. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Okay, here's my thing. I like the build-up, the idea that they were doing it as a revenge plot, because... spoiler alert, Reese does die in the end because he sacrifices himself because his dad was supposed to be the one that was in the gallows, and he was supposed to be...
His father was in the play, but he was going to be the one to be hanged, but at a last minute change, he called in sick, so Charlie, the boy who died in the freak accident, he took his place, and he got hanged by accident, and now he's a vengeful spirit looking for revenge. And he takes his revenge on
Reese. who's the son of the guy who
basically
opted out. But what made it interesting was that Charlie's girlfriend, the mother of Pfeiffer, it would have made sense for her to have a revenge plot. It would have made sense for her to be the one inside the mask and everything like that.
I guess, but
I mean, I would have been fine with the supernatural aspect too.
Well, the camera glances over to their bedroom, and I guess there's some witchcraft involved, but they don't explain it. I mean,
no, you see all these revenge things, and I will say the one part with the TV, if you notice, the TV was just completely on loop and it wasn't even playing anything. All you heard was just sounds of people screaming.
I guess, I don't know.
No, there was nothing playing on there. All you see is the noose around his neck, but you don't see him hanging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and okay, the cops calls for backup, no answer. And in typical horror movie cliche, he goes out into the hallway and asks for a partner for backup. And all of a sudden, the partner gets yanked back, and he's slowly being hanged up by a noose. And the cop's like, "Oh my god!" And then he goes back into the bedroom with the daughter and the mother, and they just stare at him menacingly. And then Charlie, the main villain, comes out of nowhere, comes at the screen, and that's the last shot. And like in almost every found footage horror movie, the last shot has to be the most terrifying, and
this was just dumb. It was just I saw it coming a mile away.
Yeah, we can all see it coming, and I've seen so much better, and I really hate to say this. Unfriended, aka Skype the horror movie, had a better narrative, better acting actually, and better scares.
Though I do have to say, the guy who played Reese, he was very convincing when he was scared.
Yeah, and he does, and I give so much respect for actors in found footage movies, because they try their hardest to make this look genuine, and that's the point of a found footage horror movie. You try to make it genuine, genuinely scary. And
there is one scene that I absolutely loved, that I thought was really great. And it was the build-up to Reese's death, because, he basically figures out that he's supposed to sacrifice himself in order for this to stop. So he goes up and he acts out the part with Pfeiffer, who plays, the girlfriend in the play. And, he acts out the whole line, everything like that. And he goes up to the gallows and puts the noose around his neck. And he starts saying to her, "Pfeiffer, run. Run, Pfeiffer, run."
And then here's when the twist happens. She's like, "August, no, don't do this." And
he's freaking out.
What?
He's like, "Why are you calling me
Why
that?
are you calling me August?
No, just run. Just
no,
run."
August, don't. And then Charlie appears in glitchy video effects, and then pulls the lever, and he's hanged.
As you probably would have guessed.
And then she just becomes emotionless. She stops, stares at his body, and then turns to face the stage out in the audience.
And you see a shadow come right next to her.
And it grabs her hand, and they go, "Yeah."
That was weird.
And then you hear, and in the background, it's her mother, which happens to be the girlfriend from the '93 incident.
Mm-hmm. But, like I said, I do love little details in this movie. But in the end, it feels like it was confusing. It's confusing in the end, honestly. And
it's just one of those things where it makes you feel stupid. It's like, huh?
What just happened?
Did I not pay attention hard enough?
But it was like
the ending to Paranormal Activity 3.
I will say, kudos to the actor who played Reese, who his name is Reese. I mean,
yeah, they're all they're all the same names. Basically.
Kudos to Reese for portraying this character, and his reaction to Pfeiffer calling him August, it actually felt genuine. Like, he was really scared and confused, and he was just trying to get her out of there, and he's almost crying at this point, and he's just like, "No, just stop it, Pfeiffer, just go. Stop calling me August, Pfeiffer." And you can just hear his voice getting more and more panicked, because he knows he's about to die, but at the same time, he's scared for Pfeiffer because he cares about her, and he's also kind of freaked out.
And also something else is going on besides him sacrificing himself.
Yeah, it's great because you can hear like the multiple emotions in his voice, and I loved it.
Here's the one thing that doesn't make sense. Okay, they kind of imply that if he kills himself, this all stops. Why do the cops die? Does saying his name 3 times just bring him back or something?
Don't say his name.
Charlie, Charlie, Chula.
But no, like, it was confusing, and it would have made perfect sense if he did die and then they got arrested, and something like at the end where it's
at
like
least
his
have
case
the
has been
daughter and
investigated.
mother arrested, and they just look disturbed and just like, we did it, we finally did it, or something like that. How did he come back? Never explained.
Never explained.
And I know, I know in horror movies they do like, oh, you just leave it to the imagination. No, this is way too obscure. Like not enough information to imply anything.
It just would have been great if, you know, they did. If they did explain something as to why he's an entity or why anything is like this. I mean, come on. In Halloween, they even explained what's up with Michael Myers a few sequels later, but they explained.
And I like how now the Paranormal Activity movies are divided, so at least they have an excuse. But with each chapter, there is a subtle explanation of why things are the way they are. Like in 2, they explain how the demon came in the first movie, and in 3, it explained how it all began, and 4 was a continuation, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So, if they're going to make a sequel to this, I highly doubt it, but if they are, they better have a damn good explanation for this, because this made no sense.
Nope.
So, I thought it was nah.
Yeah, me too, but
the trailer looked nice.
It was atmospheric. There were some enjoyable things about it, but
with each horror found footage movie, there's always something to enjoy. There's always something to look at. Like, once again, with all the Paranormal Activity movies, there's always something to enjoy and look at. With the Blair Witch Project, it was always Blair Witch Project was just a huge build-up movie to the climax and the last shot of that movie. And
I think the build-up was probably the best part of this movie. And I also do like the build-up with Pfeiffer and Reese and how she keeps on saying, August, don't, and he's freaking out. That was probably my favorite part.
I don't have a problem with it having a twist. Like, there's more to it than just a vengeful spirit, but like, I would like more, you know, more stuff going on than the plot is revealing from the trailers, but not enough information. I want to know more.
Yeah.
So, Although, I think you may like it somewhat more than I did, but that's not so much.
I'm not saying that it's good.
There's just some stuff that works, but most of it doesn't.
No, I'm just saying, like, I think I just enjoy mostly the acting and the build-up, and that's probably it.
As one who has watched more horror films in the theater, mind you.
And I'm probably a bit less nitpicky about it than you. That's probably just it.
Yeah,
and I'm the one who's usually nitpicky about characters and things like this.
Yeah, it's...
Then again...
I've just seen this all before. It's all too familiar, so...
Then again, the only horror movie I've seen was Halloween, and I absolutely loved it, especially Jamie Lee Curtis's character.
Oh, and speaking of twists, just imagine how the twist for The Visit is going to be, because, you know, Shyamalan, there's going to be a twist, and it's going to...
It was all in their dreams!
You know what, that might as well be it.
That's probably what it's going to be.
I mean, look at the twist from The Village, come on!
It's probably going to be like the nightmare of one of the children. They just dreamt it all up, and then they open up...
That would be the worst case scenario.
And then they open the door and see that their grandparents are just downstairs reading, and they're just like, oh, we didn't want to be disturbed. Or something like that. That's probably what it's going to be.
I wouldn't be surprised. Shyamalan!
I will say The Visit does look pretty creepy.
The trailer looks creepy, but This is M. Night Shyamalan we're talking about here. The same guy who made aliens allergic to water. The same guy who made The Village take place in modern times.
No. One of my favorite things about that trailer was one of the ladies behind us was like, "Oh heck no, you're not visiting Nana now."
Audience members can be funny.
You're staying home for the summer.
My visitation is canceled. So, I guess you had fun with this. Being fun, being scared, and...
Well, I did have you to cuddle up with.
So, once again, I didn't really think this was great. I didn't think that was good of a movie. Some good stuff. You done? Some good stuff. Just not really worth it.
No, I mean, like I said, I did like some things about it. I like it.
So yeah, I think she likes it more than I do. So
I'm so excited. Are you excited? Excited.
Charlie.